Readiness. Today's date is September 5th,
Recording in
2023.
progress.
At this time, I'll pass it to Commissioner Rubio.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. I'll keep my comments short to allow our presenters more time to cover this important topic this morning. But I'll just preface by saying that first, as you're all aware, we're in a climate crisis. And as a nation and world, we're clearly needing to transition to more clean and efficient energy sources. And this is especially true for our city. And this transition is something that we, as a council, are all very clearly aligned on, care very much about. But with that transition comes increased reliance on our electric grid. And ensuring our grid is ready for the future is a significant part of the work that we need to do to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050. And before this happens, we need to understand what the capacity of our current grid is and what measures are needed in the future to modernize our grid and support the increased energy load, and understand what a realistic timeframe for this readiness looks like. This information helps us to plan as a city, but also informs the public so they're understanding what to expect. So today we will hear from BPS Director Donnie Oliveira and Bureau staff, as well as our electric utility partners, PGE and Pacific Core, around our electric grid and its readiness for increased capacity as we transition towards a clean energy future. So now I will hand it over to Director Oliveira to begin the presentation.
Thank you, Commissioner Rubio and Council. My name is Donnie Oliveira, for the record. What a lovely way to get back in from a holiday weekend by diving into our grid, energy resources, and the future of our city's resilience. Just it makes my heart sing thinking about that. I'm also using this moment to stall as we get the deck queued up. So I want to just acknowledge, thank you for diving in. We have some guests with us today, both representatives from Portland General Electric, Pacific Power, Director Long from Parks and Rec, and partners Kavita from the Water Bureau. As we get this queued up, who has the work session?
The deck?
No, the link to the...
I just sent it to you. It should be
Thanks.
at the top of your inbox.
All right. Okay. So part of the reason that we're doing this is to provide a snapshot of our city's electrical grid, but frankly, our pathway to a future of 100% renewable energy and what it's going to take to get there. First and foremost, it's a takes all hands to do this. We're going to be working with our utility partners to do that. But also there's a lot that the city can do. We're already doing, and hopefully we can work with you all to set policy and programming to meet our city's goals. All right. Okay, we're just going to wing this. All right. So our agenda for today is as follows. First, we're going to give you an overview of the sort of the energy pathway and portfolio of the city of Portland. We're going to talk about what kind of guides our city infrastructure, our city's goals, and the challenges and opportunities that we face as the city of Portland. Then we're going to offer up the space to our utility partners to kind of give a snapshot of where they're at, a background of their history of working with the city, their clean energy programs, and what's next for them. And then we're going to open it up for discussion. I'll also acknowledge that throughout the presentations, we'll have spaces to pause and have discussion with you all and answer questions you may have about anything that's conveyed in the process. All right. So our hope today is to convey and leave you with these key points. First and foremost, utilities are critical partners in the clean energy future. We're not going to do this alone. In fact, the key maneuvers that are going to happen over the next 20, 30 years rely on our utility partners' investments in their infrastructure. Second, state and local emissions reduction targets require significant clean energy development. This kind of speaks to the idea that we can have targets, but if we're not actually putting resources behind our infrastructure and developing this capacity, both in generation, the transmission of our energy, but also the storage of potential excess clean energy, which would be the future, we need to invest in those developments. Third, those investments, distributed resources, and flexible loads are key to community resilience. So it's not just the what's in our energy grid, but also how we're using that energy, how we're responsive to catastrophe and the climate crisis, which is going to have direct impact on our supply and demand. All those issues for load management are critical to that, to meeting a clean energy future. And then last, but certainly not least, the clean energy investments can spur new economic growth and redistribute social benefits in line with principles of a just transition. So this just isn't the old model of energy generation and usage. This is about who owns those resources, how those are distributed, and who benefits from and is harmed, frankly, by unintended consequences of our investments. So I hope we give a taste of what that means, because we have a lot to cover in a short amount of time. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Vivian Satterfield.
Good morning, everyone. Mayor, commissioners, and our partners here. I'm Vivian Satterfield. I'm your Chief Sustainability Officer. You'll also be hearing today from our partners, not just from ourselves, but also our partners from Water and Portland Parks and Recreation as well. We wanted to start by orienting our conversation with a few of our guiding principles that the city, and want to go to the next slide, please. I wanted to just lift up the 2017 Renewable Energy Resolution. This resolution committed the city to several energy goals. First and foremost is to partner with energy utilities to accelerate the transition to renewable energy and minimize dependence on fossil fuels. So I want to thank our energy utilities today, our electric utilities, for being here today and making those commitments to an emissions-free electricity. Secondly, the resolution urges utility companies to maximize energy efficiency, demand control technologies, energy storage, and renewable energy. The importance of the strategy can't be overstated enough. Deploying a variety of technologies and strategies can right-size our energy needs and help keep energy rates affordable. And finally, we are committed to adopting policies that reduce the cost burden for low-income customers. And I know this council is very concerned about the affordability of rates, so we must prioritize affordability. Next slide, please. We're here to talk about the electric grid, as electricity is the largest contributor of our city's source-based emissions. It accounts for 25% of all emissions. So as we electrify our homes, cars, businesses, we must ensure that the electricity comes from renewable sources rather than fossil fuels. And our content expert today is Paul Hawkins, who has the rest of today's presentation.
Yep. Good morning. My name is Paul Hawkins, for the record, he, him pronouns. I'm a Buildings and Energy Program Manager at the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability's Climate Team. So in recognition of the significance of our electric emissions and the need to electrify, and in response to the climate emergencies of 2020 and 2021, a group of advocates banded together to effect change. The Oregon Clean Energy Opportunity Campaign was led by Frontline and environmental justice groups across the state. The city of Portland signed on to this campaign as a show of support and an action following the city's climate emergency declaration. Ultimately, this community-led campaign was successful in passing 3 monumental pieces of legislation. The first is low-income bill discounts, second, healthy homes grants for low income, and finally, House Bill 2021, which establishes state electricity emissions reductions targets. So I'll spend a few minutes here on House Bill 2021. Primarily, the legislation requires retail electricity providers to reduce greenhouse gas emissions associated with electricity sold to Oregonians, notably 100% emissions reduction by 2040. The legislation also required utilities to complete their first ever clean energy plans. These plans detail actions to center community and meet the emissions reductions targets. We'll hear more about each of these plans from our utility partners later on today. House Bill 2021 also includes an important provision for local governments and communities to adopt a tariff or rate structure to accelerate adoption of clean electricity to meet locally established climate goals. We'll talk more about this later as well. So this brings us to today. The city adopted the Climate Emergency Work Plan in 2022 with 47 actions to meet our emissions reduction goals, with 2 key actions that focus on our electricity usage and the city's electricity goals. These 2 action items are directly drawn from the 2017 Renewable Energy Resolution. I'll speak more to those goals in the next 2 slides. So here, action item Electricity 1, or E1, is to support the development of a community-wide program for 100% clean electricity. Action item E2 is to support community-owned renewables, specifically directly targeting funding for solar energy storage and other renewable energy projects in our community. Both actions will require investment to build new renewable energy resources that work in harmony with our electric grid and our electric utilities. So I'll go into a little bit more detail here. I'll speak first to our community-wide electricity goal, meaning all homes, all businesses, including city facilities within the jurisdictional boundary of the city. We have an established goal to meet 100% of our community's electric needs with renewable energy by 2030, in advance of the state mandate by 2040. Furthermore, we aspire to have community-based energy infrastructure to account for 2% of our energy needs by 2030 and 10% by 2050. Under action item E1 of the Climate Emergency Work Plan, BPS has been working with our electric utilities and our Public Utility Commission for the last year to design and scope this municipal green tariff that would collect revenue to accelerate renewable adoption and invest in community-based energy assets that further action item E2. I anticipate you'll hear much more about this green tariff in the year to come as it moves through the Public Utility Commission and to decision for council. The Portland Clean Energy Fund also has a large role to play in investing in community-based energy infrastructure. The proposed climate investment plan will allocate $474 million to energy efficiency and renewable energy that build toward this goal of community ownership. So I also want to share some insights to our own city operational energy goals. For over a decade, the city has met its electric needs with renewable energy through 4 different types of power purchasing, including on-site renewable generation, utility-supplied renewables, dedicated off-site renewables, and renewable energy credits, or RECs. For on-site renewables, the city hosts 17 solar arrays, including the solar on the slough that's pictured here, as well as a cogeneration system at the Columbia Boulevard wastewater treatment plant. In addition, the Portland Water Bureau is planning a solar development for the new Bull Run filtration site. PG and Pacific Power today supply about 39% and 21% emissions-free electricity. Our utility partners are hard at work to increase these numbers to meet the initial targets set by House Bill 2021, and we applaud the efforts of both utilities to supply the city of Portland with renewable electricity. There's a recent success story here in acquiring dedicated off-site renewables. In the last few years, BPS coordinated participation from 6 other city bureaus: Water, Parks, Environmental Services, Fire, Transportation, and the Office of Management and Finance. We're purchasing ongoing electricity subscriptions to off-site renewable projects. This is the Oregon Community Solar Program, as well as PGE's Green Future Impact Program. Together, these contracts will provide about 50,000 megawatt hours of renewable electricity annually. This is about 35% of our operational electricity usage. So in the last few years, we've seen our utility partners make strides to deliver more renewables, and our subscriptions have come to fruition to provide that power. These investments actually decrease our reliance on renewable energy credits, or RECs. This is a good thing. While RECs are a tool to help offset our emissions, they're a one-time cost that doesn't invest directly in our electric grid or our community. The thing that I'd like you to take away from this slide, or the previous slide rather, is that the city has a tremendous opportunity and can do more to leverage federal, state, and utility funding to invest and prioritize in on-site renewables that reduce our life cycle costs and deliver ongoing community benefits. So this is my last slide here, challenges and opportunities. I wanted to offer a brief vignette to illustrate a set of challenges and opportunities that you're going to hear as themes throughout the 90 minutes this morning. So first, the Portland area has attainable electricity goals, but we're capacity constrained, which means that there's limited bandwidth on our regional electric transmission lines to bring power into the city. Fortunately, community-based renewables can avoid the need to transmit that electricity into the city by adding capacity locally. However, small-scale community-based renewables are generally thought to be more expensive than the traditional large-scale utility projects, though they do provide direct community benefits. And finally, federal funding via the Inflation Reduction Act or bipartisan infrastructure law both present a generational opportunity to subsidize that cost of building a clean, equitable energy future. With that, I think I'll stop here, pause for any clarifying questions before I hand it off to a few of our city colleagues at Parks and Recreation, and the Portland Water Bureau.
Just have one baseline question. One baseline question. Where does natural gas fit in our characterization of energy as renewable?
Yeah, so today we're focused particularly on just the electric side. Renewable natural gas is an emerging technology, I would say, that makes up a small percentage of our energy consumption. It's not something I'm prepared to speak to today, but it is an important strategy to decarbonize our full electric supply.
Let me rephrase that a little bit. So when we look at the utilities and their targets, both for 2030 and 2040, does natural gas count towards the meeting their goal, or is it where does it fit in that equation?
So House Bill 2021 is specific to the electric utilities and electric sector. There is a different program called the Climate Protection Program that's also regulated at, I believe, state of Oregon level. Separate program. We're not necessarily prepared to talk about Climate Protection Program today, but that's meant to decarbonize the gas supply and make sure that there's equity and a just transition. Is that
Maybe I'll ask the utilities this. But I think the last time you guys were all, you kind of walked us through the what percentage of your electricity comes from what source. For PG and Pacific Core, in terms of this market, what percentage of electricity is ultimately generated by natural gas in this region? Roughly, I was just curious in how we count that towards the targets.
For PG, currently it's 34%.
Okay, and that's grown in the last 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, that fair, yes.
Okay.
And for Pacific Power, it's currently about 20% and going down to about 10 by 2030.
Got it. And in terms of the state legislation and the city of Portland's goals, does natural gas count as towards your target, or is it an excluded energy source for that target?
It's a fossil fuel resource, right?
Commissioner, for the city of Portland's goals, natural gas is considered a fossil fuel. So we're
It
talking.
is considered fossil fuel for the city of Portland. Is that the same for the state as far as you know?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Could somebody dive a little deeper when you said you had limited transmission capacity? What are you referring to?
Mayor, the utilities will actually walk through their grid structure shortly. So if you're
I'll
ready.
answer that.
Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
I want to thank Paul for the presentation. Can you unpack for us how this municipal green tariff will work?
Yeah, I can take a stab at it. So we've been working with both utilities and our utility commission for a little over a year to try to scope this program, and PGE intends to file this tariff or rate structure ideally later this year. Essentially, this is a cost premium that Portland residents would be able to opt out of, meaning don't want to participate, rather than opting in, which is kind of the traditional programs. So we'd collect additional revenues that would be set aside in a pot of money that's specific for the city of Portland to build resources that serve our load in Portland. So this is our tool to accelerate adoption of renewables ahead of 2040, when utilities are mandated to have emissions-free electricity, and to help get the city of Portland there sooner. It's also available to other communities within the state of Oregon, and we've been working with communities like Multnomah County, City of Gresham, Salem. There's lots of other communities that have expressed interest and are helping to scope and design this potential tool.
Has any municipality in Oregon set up a green tariff yet?
This is a brand new program offering.
And I kind of don't, there's something kind of counterintuitive here. So this is sort of a voluntary tax that Portlanders could pay on their electric bill in order to subsidize sort of the evolution of our electric grid. Is that how I should think about it?
I think that's fair to say, and I would just couch it in the fact that today, Portland ratepayers for PGE and Pacific Power, we're actually both #1 in the nation in voluntary green power purchasing programs. So I think PGE leads the nation and Pacific Power is second. So Portland residents have already sort of voted with their wallets in that way to say that clean power is important to them.
Okay. Do you have a rough estimate about how much you hope to earn through the green tariff in the Portland Metro?
Not at this point. I think we're working through that today. We hope to bring this to council later, and certainly we'll be briefing on the concept of a community green tariff.
And Commissioner, the opportunity here is not just that we're going for renewable energy, it's what type. So is it local generation? Is it community build out? Are we buying, resources further away from the city that it might be cheaper? There's a lot of like pros and cons. And so as our team with utility work together to think about with our community partners as well, what's the right package for the city of Portland? Like what's what the cost is, but it's also like what's the benefits. So there's a wide range of opportunities and scenarios. So that portfolio will come back to you all for consideration later on, but there's a lot of work to do still.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. Yeah, I'm trying to summarize what I'm hearing. So basically, it's big picture infrastructure is lacking in Portland when it comes to transmission lines. Okay. And then the environmental consequences there that we'd probably have to take down some trees to do that, correct? Okay, let's just get all this stuff out today. And then the other big picture environmental concern is the mining, right? The lithium mining that takes place probably in states like where, Nevada?
Yeah.
I think it's important that we always lift up that electrification is not pure and clean. There's also consequences, and I want us to make sure we have our eyes wide open to that. I'm old enough to remember where natural gas was pure and perfect. So it's just important for me at this age to always acknowledge that we have, that we have to be ahead of the consequences and make sure that we manage that. Thanks.
Actually, I know we need to move along quickly, but now that we've scratched the surface, I'm not sure if I understand the core issue with our electric grid infrastructure. Is it a bandwidth issue, or do we need to kind of evolve to a new, more efficient?
Commissioner, if we can move forward, our utility partners will cover
right,
that as well. Thank you.
That's
I
fine.
appreciate that. So we're going to go ahead and move on if you all don't mind. Director Long?
Can we have the slide deck back?
Yep, there it is. It's up.
Oh, great, thank you. Sorry. Good morning, council. My name is Adina Long, Director of Portland Parks and Recreation. Thank you for having me join you today. Portland Parks and Recreation is committed to supporting efforts to move our city toward our climate resilience goals, including electrification, and we understand that in order to achieve these goals, the city and partners need to pursue all of the actions in the climate emergency work plan. Portland Parks and Recreation would like to emphasize the importance of achieving all of those actions, and we believe that we can achieve them can achieve them all without focusing on some actions at the expense of others. In general, linear facilities like new transmission facilities are often located in open spaces and natural areas, such as Forest Park and Powell Butte. The City of Portland's natural areas are critical carbon sinks and provide essential ecological services that support citywide climate resilience goals. Maintaining environmental protections and reducing wildfire risk for natural areas like Forest Park are two of the priority actions listed in the city's 3-year climate emergency work plan. Protecting trees is also an important part of the climate emergency work plan. Protection and preservation of natural resources, including forests, waterways, and trees, must be part of the calculus to deliver cleaner, greener energy to the region. Our existing forest stands provide tremendous benefits to carbon storage and sequestration. One forested acre provides ongoing storage of about 74 tons of carbon, not including ongoing sequestration. Ecological services like this will play an important role in reaching our climate's resilience goals. Our city's climate resilience goals, excuse me. We're excited to be here and to have this opportunity to learn more about the utilities' plans for supporting the city's electrification goals and how to protect our natural resources and how they can be a part of those plans. I'm going to turn it over now to colleague Kavita Hain of the Portland Water Bureau.
Thank you, Director Long. Good morning, Commissioners, Mayor. Thanks for the opportunity to present. My name is Kavita Hine. I'm the Adaptive Planning and Climate Manager at the Portland Water Bureau. I'm here on behalf of my directors who are dealing with the Camp Creek fire at the moment, so thank you for the opportunity to comment. She, her pronouns also for the record. So I just wanted to make a couple of points to elevate the discussion and add to it, if that's all right with you all. So the Water Bureau has been developing our own net zero decarbonization plan, and we've also led several efforts to install on-site solar and microhydro facilities within our infrastructure. So I just want to point to a couple of clean energy infrastructure opportunities within the city that I think are important to recognize. So first of all, we're really excited today to be working with the utility partners because the city and the Water Bureau in particular have assets and facilities that can support and contribute to our collective clean energy transition goals through on-site renewable generation as well as demand response, which is managing energy efficiency and timing our energy use around off-peak and on-peak hours. So we welcome the chance to work in further partnership with utilities to identify and collaborate on these mutually beneficial opportunities. The other thing I just want to note that Paul spoke to is that we have a once-in-a-generation opportunity. This really is a big deal from the federal government and the Inflation Reduction Act to invest in clean energy and decarbonization projects. So this is a really exciting opportunity. However, speed is essential for us as a city to take advantage of these funds and tax incentives before they sunset within the next 10 years. And we need to acknowledge that current city administrative processes, as well as limited grant support resources, can delay or potentially impact our ability to access these funds and implement projects. So we have a couple of asks to council today. One is in the recognition of the fact that more needs to happen quicker. We want to enable the city to accelerate procurement for clean energy and renewable projects to take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime federal funding opportunity and not leave money on the table. Some of the IRA funding incentives for which we are eligible for could potentially fund up to 60% of clean energy transition projects within the city. That's a lot of money. Secondly, we would ask to have additional support for grant specialist staff resources in the city to advise on maximizing our access to these fund incentives, to apply for funding, and also complete necessary reporting requirements that come with federal grants. So those are two simple requests we'd like to sort of lay out on the table in partnership with BPS and other infrastructure bureaus and sort of just get us thinking about how we move forward on maximizing these opportunities. So thank you for the opportunity to present.
May I ask a follow-up question on these federal funds?
Of course.
Where you see urgency, what are the basic requirements of those federal grants? Tell us, is there a match required? What's required, and what source of funding are you requesting from? Is it general fund? Are you asking for utility rate? Give us a little bit more detail.
Yeah, so we're still working through this because a lot of the programs that are being developed from the Inflation Reduction Act are just being rolled out at the moment. But the biggest thing we're eligible for as city bureaus is elective pay, which is basically to replace basically a mechanism for tax-exempt entities like local governments to actually get tax benefit from this funding. So a lot of it is tax incentives. There are other grant programs that we need to keep an eye on that are being rolled out, and we don't know exactly what those look like right now. But immediately we know that we have access to basically tax incentives that we can use to fund microhydro projects, solar projects within city facilities, and that's something that we can access quickly. But to do that, we need to have the contracting in place to move these projects forward.
And I'm sorry, I'm not necessarily following you. Could you give an example of a tax incentive that could be used specifically for a renewable energy project?
Yeah, so for example, the microhydro facility that the Water Bureau is installing at Washington Park, potentially the cost of that is something like $700,000. I know it's changed a few times, but potentially we could access up to 40 or get a tax incentive for up to 40% of that project. 30% is kind of the basic tax incentive, and then an additional 10% for domestic supply if we resource the materials from a domestic supplier. So that potentially could fund, $300,000 to $400,000.
I hate to be adult. What tax incentive are you referring to? Is this a tax incentive for utility ratepayers? Who gets the tax incentive?
So the local governments would get it. So in this case, the Water Bureau could get it, correct. Local government entities would be eligible for this.
Is that an offset?
It's called elective pay. So it's a new
Explain that.
Yeah, so, well, I can try. I mean, the White House has recently put out communications on what elective pay is, and so we are,
Kavita, yeah, I'm happy to jump in.
go ahead. Oh, that'd be great. Thanks. Paul.
So I would classify them as, one is the investment tax credit, ITC, and the other is the production tax credit that I think
Thank you.
Kavita is referring to specifically. So the investment tax credit is the cost that you put into that project. So as Kavita was saying, there's sort of a baseline, let's call it 10% tax credit return, and if the project is in a low-income community or it meets workforce requirements, you get these bonuses. Up to 60% of that investment money that you put forward to build the project, you get back at the end.
All right.
The
Yeah,
production
that's
tax credit
substantial.
is similar, but it's the ongoing production of electricity of that project. So it's kind of either or, but the acute issue here is that it's not forward-facing capital. It's after the fact, once the project's already completed. So in order to move these projects and shovel-ready projects and have the capital to invest up front, we do need tax advice to quantify the production or the investment and then actually monetize that through the federal government and get that tax credit back at the end of the day, a couple years later when the project is completed.
Okay, so, and this is a new program, is that correct?
The investment tax credit has existed for a while, but as part of the Inflation Reduction Act, it was made eligible for tax-exempt entities. So that's the new
Oh,
provision,
great.
that
Good.
we are now eligible as a government to receive those funds.
Terrific. Thank you. Thanks for explaining that. I appreciate that.
And so for a tax-exempt entity such as a city, so it's actually true cash on the barrel you get at the end of it?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, just to be clear. And in terms of the commitment that you're asking of council, help me is when we look at transportation policy, for example, PBOT, we've certainly made many decisions over the years that are largely driven by federal transportation policy, and sometimes we get ourselves stuck into commitments that, on balance, maybe we would make a different decision if it weren't for. Well, I mean, the federal incentives are driving behaviors, and that's their intent.
Right.
But sometimes we find we're stuck with commitments. So you're just trying to understand what our obligations here are. It is very exciting. On the other hand, I mean, these generate a lot of family wage jobs. I mean, this is the domestic supplier requirements are fantastic. This is going to create a lot of family wage jobs in the region if we do these type of projects. I don't think that benefit can be understated. I just trying to get at what our real commitments are here.
Yeah, absolutely. I can start to answer that. So I think this is speaking specifically to filling the need for that community-based resource, doing that on-site within City of Portland facilities. We have assets and facilities where we can do more of this renewable generation, potentially battery storage as well. And so we just want to maximize those opportunities. Of course, we want to evaluate every opportunity to make sure it's going to have a bang for a buck in terms of carbon emissions impact, to understand where the funds would come from to fund the capital cost up front. That's the biggest question initially, because the tax incentive comes on the back end there. And so we would evaluate those, bureau by bureau and project by project, but it would help contribute to what the utilities goals are as well as our city goals. And so I think that's kind of how I would respond to that, Commissioner.
Well, maybe it is a question for Commissioner Maps and the experience with PBOT, just thinking, I mean, we don't necessarily need to answer it right now, but what controls we should be putting in place as commissioners that we enable them to do what they need to do, right? To streamline this process, to avail themselves of federal dollars here and not have to come back to us for every piece of that we, but at the same time, not get us stuck into long-term commitments that a future council may not really appreciate.
Absolutely. Well, I'm happy to partner with staff and other council offices to figure out how we can make these systems more effective.
Any other questions for city staff before we hand it over to our utility partners?
I'll just note, we don't need to pause now to fully unpack this. I'm moved by the request to accelerate the procurement process for green projects. I'm not sure how you operationalize that or how I, as a council person, operationalize that. I'd love to have more dialogue around that, but we can have that at a staff level.
Yeah, and just recognize that the federal grants and incentives come with their own set of commitments and requirements, many of which are environmental justice focused. And so a lot of those requirements could cover our own goals in the city. They're often very synergistic with what we want to achieve as well. So using those mechanisms to move forward our procurement could potentially be helpful.
Great, thank you.
All right. Larry, Nick, the floor is yours.
Mr. Mayor and Council, thanks for having us. Nick Blosser, for the record, Vice President, Public Affairs at Portland General Electric. I'm going to hand it off to Larry Beckedahl to do the first few slides here.
Good morning, Mayor, Council members. For the record, Larry Beckedahl, Senior Vice President, Advanced Energy Delivery, Portland General Electric. So glad to be here this morning. Hopefully we can answer some of the questions. I love the dialogue that's already started, and as we run in, hope we don't go too deep, but at the same time go deep enough. I think you all recognize we represent about 900,000 meters here in Portland. That's about 2 million individuals that live here. And now as we think about customers, we now have mobile customers and cars that are driving in and out. So we're thinking differently about what is a customer and how are we working to supply the needs of those. What you see on the at a glance here, won't go into the details on much of our generation, but what I would say is that the generation traditionally has been afar. So whether, it could be up, the Clackamas, River, or it could be out at Port Westward, but much of it was further out, Boardman, or let's go clear out to Wyoming or Montana, much further away and transmitting into the city. And what I'll say is, as we go into the future, we see a future where 75% of the generation capacity comes from those plants and are built and hopefully converting renewables as fast as we can, as we've decommissioned our coal plants, for instance, and moving faster towards renewables. We see a future where 25% of the capacity comes from within the load center itself, being the city. And so I just paint that picture for you to keep in mind. You heard terms like flexible load. Think of them as dynamic devices that are in the homes, in the businesses that can flex. And with that flex, you can help to control the capacity on the system. We also have storage like batteries that are coming our way. Due to the Infrastructure Reduction Act, solar, I would say penetration is going to accelerate starting this next year. We see something on the order of about 200 requests a day, or a week, excuse me. But we anticipate the acceleration with those federal funds coming quickly. Transportation electrification, with 1 in every 6 cars now being electric here in Oregon. We see that moving much faster. You'll see 50% easily by 2030 of all new cars being electric in the state of Oregon. So we see the transition happening. We also have a chips manufacturing bill that has come our way. That's 15% of all chip manufacturing in the United States is done here in the greater Portland area. And so we're seeing those companies expanding quickly. And then finally, I'll mention data centers and data centers that have come to our area. And this is much like, if you think back to the aluminum industry coming in the 40s and the 50s, the data centers look very much the same. Loads are typically 100 megawatts or more. And what we're looking to work with them on is flexing their loads. They can move transactions from, say, Portland to North Carolina, so it flexes load. They also have backup generation that we want to be able to try to utilize as well. So I say all that is to maybe lead on into our next slides of, what is our strategy? Our strategy is to decarbonize, electrify, and perform. And performance comes in the form of reliability, availability, I'll say as well, and affordability. How do we do that safely for all of our customers and meet the targets that we're talking about? And I'll let Nick dive into the target, but we know our state targets and the mandates that we have are not as aggressive as Portland's right now. And so how do we help you and we partner together to achieve those targets? On the next slide, we do talk about some of our priorities. And again, safe, reliable, clean electricity. I will mention wildfire. We're putting significant dollars now into wildfire prevention and how we operate. And it clearly is a result of climate change. We're seeing that in the forested areas. And so we're having to take that action. And it's been very aggressive. And as we think about 50% of our distribution facilities today are underground. We're going to have to accelerate in certain areas to try to enhance that. That's, again, a solution for wildfire in part. Doesn't help in earthquakes, but it does help in wildfire. So we're trying to think about how do we harden. There was mention about federal grants, and through the bipartisan program, we've got over $1 billion in grants right now requested for hardening our system, for advancing technologies. And then we also have a project that's with our partners, the Confederated Tribe of Warm Springs. We are partners in hydro operations over in the Round Butte area with them. And now we'd like to go in partnership on a transmission line. And it gets back to some of the core issues that we're talking about. Converting, upgrading transmission lines. And as I dive into those topics, what I would mention is that we want to stay in the corridors that currently exist. We want to upgrade the lines that currently exist and use the easements that are there currently to try to minimize impacts on the rest of the community. So it's a whole lot easier to convert and upgrade a line that is adjacent currently to neighborhoods than it is building a whole new one through a neighborhood. So that's our main mission and what we'll emphasize as we go forward in looking at the lines. But this slide demonstrates, again, going from the traditional 130 years we've been in operations. Willamette Falls, I love talking about that story because it was kind of the creation of Portland General Electric. And the 14 miles of transmission, the first AC transmission in the nation. It was first DC, then it went single-phase AC, and then three-phase AC. But the people that were creative at that time to think about the future, I think we're faced with that today. What and how this looks. This is a step change in how the system has to be operated, much different than we ever have in the past. So that running of the grid, here are some of the thoughts about how it changes. And if I were to just give you a real quick fundamental, it was just say that generation comes at us in a form of many years it's been either hydro or thermal or now it's renewables. But generation and load, and the two in the electric world, electrons travel at the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. So when you generate, you have to have a load that matches. Well, you get up in the morning, you make coffee and take a shower, et cetera. The load's going up. We as an industry bring the generation up with it. And if it declines maybe in the afternoon, same way. And when we get that heat cycle that takes place, we're following it. It has to match. If the load and generation don't match, then we have voltage frequency problems, we damage equipment. So that's our mission, is that we always have to maintain that. So now today, it's not only the loads moving over here. With renewables, sometimes the wind's blowing, sometimes it's not blowing, or the sun's shining or it's not shining. So the generation is moving on this side as well. So when I mentioned the 25% and having flexible load, we're really referring to flexibility on the load side now. We want both to be able to maintain the system at an affordable rate and make it reliable for everyone. And so this particular slide just gives a few highlights there to say customers and their equipment and participation is really important as we go into the future. And when we think about grants, when we think about working with the city as a partner, it's a really important element of our mission as we go forward. So the next slide demonstrates what took place here on August 15th. And we're seeing some real changes, both the system and the transmission as well as even locally. This chart represents the load on that day. And you can see it starts at 7 a.m. in the morning and finishes, we're showing at midnight. But at the top of that, you see a peak of 4,560 megawatts. So we are a greater Portland area, 4.5 gigawatts of load. But there was a dip, and that dip represented what we call demand response or an energy partners, our customers taking action during the 4 to 7 p.m. period where we dropped 90 megawatts. 90 megawatts doesn't seem like a lot sometimes, but 25%, that's what I referenced in the beginning, is about 1,500 megawatts. So for us to go from 90 megawatts to 1,500 megawatts, there's a lot of effort. But that includes batteries. Next year, we're putting 475 megawatts of batteries into the system, hoping to help us manage the overall utilization of the system, which today is probably 35 to 40%. With these massive peaks that come in the summer and the winter, we want to try to drive those peaks down as much as possible and bring up the utilization overall. And so these types of programs are really, really important as we go into the future. And August 15th was a great demonstration of that. The other thing that happened this summer, it was cooler in California. They had more water in California. Canada was much drier. And so the experience was that you could buy energy from California at about $20 to $30 a megawatt hour versus the Northwest, which was about $150 a megawatt hour. So what was everybody doing? Trying to buy and move the energy on our transmission facilities. And so we found new weaknesses, new forms of what we would call on our system challenges that we're going to have to plan for and move differently. So with that, we'll come back to the transmission, but I want to turn it over to Nick to talk a little bit about our targets and the emissions that we're going at.
Thanks, Larry. Nick Blosser, Portland General Electric. So on the next slide here, we are very focused on the 80% reduction in emissions by 2030. We are at about 25% reduction at this point. And you see here the mix. So this has 34% natural gas, 6% coal, 26% hydro. So you can sort of see where we are in terms of non-emitting resources. And we file this report every year. On the next slide, you'll see, and Larry referred to this, on the right are two graphs that show our updated projections of increased load from transportation electrification, both residential and non-residential, and building electrification in the city of Portland. We ran these in April, so as you can see here, pretty significant growth in demand from both of these, which is why it's important. And let me just give an example of when Larry says flexible. This might mean your hot water heater, rather than just go on when it absolutely needs to at the peak time of 7 p.m., it might wait to heat the water till midnight when electricity is cheaper, electricity is more available. So I think the thing I want to spend a couple of minutes on is just characterizing how we're going to do this. As part of House Bill 2021, we had to file, and so did PacifiCorp, our first clean energy plan that outlined how we're going to achieve this 80% decarbonization. Our plan, trying to summarize a 1,000-page plan in one slide here, there are 5 major actions that we have listed, and we've already talked about a few of them. The first is customer actions. We need customers to be more active participants in their electric system. This includes energy efficiency and the kind of demand response programs that we've talked about. The second, which we've also talked about, is community-based or smaller scale renewable energy. That could be primarily solar with batteries, also could be micro hydro facilities. And combined, these customer actions and these smaller facilities are distributed all over our territory, but we want to and need to be able to operate them like a virtual power plant. The third is large-scale renewables, primarily solar and wind, throughout the West. We recently signed a contract and should be bringing online later this year a 311-megawatt facility in Montana, for example. Because it turns out when the wind is not blowing in the gorge, it is often blowing in Montana. So you have to have diversity of wind. Fourth is storage, primarily these large utility-scale batteries. And the fifth, which we'll talk a little bit more about, is transmission. That's both long-range, high-voltage transmission to get it from Montana into the Portland metro region, and then the lower voltage distribution lines. Next slide. So we are very focused on maintaining affordability for customers. A big part of that is giving customers tools to control their own costs and more transparency into when you're using energy. We have a new program that I think was referenced called the Income Qualified Bill Discount Program, which gives between a 15 and 25% discount today to eligible customers. Like Kavita mentioned, we are very focused on bringing in as much federal money and getting more than our fair share for PG customers, if possible. And Larry runs a team that is actively pursuing these grants. And of course, like you, we are doing everything we can to manage our own costs. And we have a pretty sophisticated system that we can answer more questions about for managing power purchases from others as well. So we thought it might be most useful to you to frame this as a couple things that are on our mind to request from you in terms of how we work together. The first has already been mentioned. We are going to release an RFP for a community-based renewable energy program. And this has not been done before. One of the major challenges we have is identifying land or rooftops to where to site these facilities, and community organizations and developers who can work together on this kind of program. And we've already been talking with your staff about it. They've been very helpful, and we'll just continue to engage on that. Our goal and our plan is to have 155 megawatts of community-based renewable energy by 2030. The second request, and I think maybe I'll pause here and hand it back to you, Larry, for a second to talk a little bit more about transmission, since Commissioner Mapps asked about it. But we have got to permit and site critical transmission upgrades. We are facing significant constraints in the region. Larry, maybe I'll let you just talk for a minute about it in more detail than this slide probably has on it.
Sure. So with regard to the transmission, it becomes the challenge. And maybe as a point of reference, I started with PacifiCorp and learned on their system quite a bit. Then went to Clark Public Utilities across the river, and then Bonneville. I ran the transmission there at Bonneville and now at Portland General Electric. And so it gives me a little bit of insight into kind of the region. And, you know, with Bonneville having 75% of the transmission in the region, how we all interface. And so I think of it as Nick was pointing out, we have kind of the localized transmission where both ourselves, Bonneville, and PAC all combine. We all interconnect here. We've got to think about those facilities and how they're operating presently. And we're then go a little bit further out to the Dalles and what we call mid-Washington, mid-sea area. That's kind of the next level of transmission. And then finally, we go clear out to, again, it could be Montana, Wyoming, Canada, or down into California. And so kind of break it into those three buckets. And what we're experiencing right now, given load increases, we're seeing load increases of about 4% in the greater Portland area. That compares with about 0.5% the last 25 years annually. So there's a large spike that's happening right now. I don't perceive that slowing down by 2030 as we continue to decarbonize and think about the system and how we operate. So what does that mean for us? It does mean we need to bring more energy in. We need that flexibility, that 75% and the 25%. But the transmission, on this particular slide, you can see we're working it from both outside the area. Bonneville just announced a $2.5 billion investments in various projects that we're working with them on. In addition, you're going to see approximately similar for us. This is kind of in the buckets 1 and 2 that I referred here locally, as well as out to the mid-sea areas. So we need to be able to bring solar in. If there was one thing on August 15th and obviously July 5th was another case where we had high temperatures with no wind whatsoever. So that high pressure zone moves in, wind stops, And if we don't have the diversity of Montana or Wyoming wind, we are then subject to just what we have here in the region. What we don't have is solar. And so transmission not being utilized enough during those days, those hot days. So we're looking for more solar penetration across in eastern Oregon, eastern Washington, great spots for solar. And so I mentioned, again, Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs wanting to put a lot of solar in and could be a great partner with us. But that gets us to that outer rim and trying to bring in, but those projects that I mentioned with Bonneville and ourselves and Pacific Core that we need to do in the core areas here, we've got significant work. It comes down to hubs in areas here, and many of, we've talked about Harborton in the past. We've mentioned down in Wilsonville area, out in Troutdale. We have a number of spots that we've got to work very closely with our partners to make sure that the right transmission is done. But I'm a firm believer in we have the capacity if we upgrade. So when I say upgrade, it could be taking a 230,000 volt line and changing it to 500,000 volts. That's an upgrade, significant in terms of it, but it's an existing line that we can convert. And that takes that significant amount of energy that we can bring and move around in the area. So if we stay with the corridors we currently have, we may have to build second lines or rebuild structures so that they have duplicate lines on them, but rebuild where we are. By far, probably the fastest way to move anything in terms of transmission. And to meet the targets that you've set forward for the city and we have as a company and the state has set, we've got to take those kinds of actions. And so it's going to have to move and move quickly. But again, if we target the areas that we currently exist and trying to avoid building new and different, we'll save ourselves a lot of time and effort. So let me turn it back over to Nick.
Yeah, and just to wrap it up here, we work together with virtually every bureau most days of the week. And I did want to take a moment to applaud you for the permitting consolidation work last week. That's going to, I think, make a big difference. 46% of our permits for our whole territory are with the city of Portland, and we have a broad range of them. So thank you for your work on that. But this continued coordination and collaboration, which we work with folks at this table pretty regularly on, not just siting of transmission, but siting of charging for electric vehicles, pole charging, substations. We are one of the larger tree trimmers in the city, and making sure as we all want to grow the tree canopy, the right tree is planted in the right place, not right beneath a line, would make everyone happy, I think. Supporting energy burdened households, seeking federal funds together. We've gone in on several federal grants together. And I know PBOT's been successful on one of the grants. And then just facilitating economic growth, housing. I know whenever we get a call to get electric service to a safe rest village, we jump on it. We know how important that is and want to facilitate that, plus other major regional developments, whether it's the post office or OMSI. Anyway, so I think close there. Happy to take more questions and pass it off to our colleagues.
I have a couple of quick questions. I can tell by staff's body language that we're eager to move along, but let me do just a quick lightning round, just so I track what's going on. First, why don't I just send this one directly to Donnie? One of the things that we heard is one of the requests to council is request number 1, city participation in community-based renewable energy program. Donnie, can you translate that into language I would understand? What does that mean or look like?
Well, Commissioner, PGE just acknowledged they're going to be rolling out an RFP to take in proposals for places where they'll be doing generation, both on new development, community partnerships. It would be similar to a program that, say, maybe PCEF might roll out to ask for community partners to, tell us where they want to invest community solar. So this would be a local generation proposal.
Okay, and what's the city's role here?
Partner. This is their program through and through.
Could be a range of roles. I think one significant role is, do you have land or a place to actually site the solar.
Okay. And that's what this program is basically going to boil down to, is siting solar panels?
With batteries.
With batteries?
Primarily, although there could be some interesting micro hydro projects.
All right, cool. Can we quickly go back to this slide, which shows achieving decarbonization goals? There you go. Thank you. Just so I'm clear on what's going on here, let's take transportation electrification, and then we break it down by residential and non-residential. What does are we talking about private electrical? What's
So charging could be everything from school buses to heavy vehicles to passenger vehicles.
okay? So this is really about moving towards electric vehicles on
Yes.
the private side and the personal side, and on the building electrification load growth. Is that what's driving that? Is that about moving to electric stoves? Is that about electric? What can we do here? We can do electric stoves. We can do electric water heaters.
Heat pumps is probably the biggest,
Okay.
including adding cooling where there may not be, water and stoves.
All right, great. And one more question, although we didn't have much talk about it, I think when we looked at potential new sources of energy, one of the intriguing sources that we didn't get a lot of attention today was thermal. I'm just wondering what thermal means in the context of the Pacific Northwest.
Thermal, it actually is primarily natural gas and coal, which is why you didn't hear a lot about it, because we're moving away from that. I think thermal also could be concentrated solar at some level, but geothermal.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I've certainly seen in the East Coast some interesting and esoteric experiments with thermal, but we're in a different space. Okay, that's all I got.
I had a couple real quick ones. Some of these, I guess, would be for both. From a kind of strategic planning perspective, City of Portland, looking ahead to the next 10 years, next 50 years, do you think it's a fair assumption to make that we will have a competitive advantage in wholesale energy prices in the region? I mean, the scenario you just played through where California was cheaper this summer than the Pacific Northwest, I assume that's generally been an anomaly in recent years. But as we're thinking longer term, well, first of all, looking backwards, wholesale energy prices was a competitive advantage for the region. It drove a lot of the industry development here. Is that a fair assumption for the next 10 to 50 years for the region?
Yeah, as you're pointing out, Commissioner, that has been really a vital economic development tool for us, if you will, for all the Northwest, having the hydro facilities. However, I would say hydro is going to be limited more in the future as we see more or less snowpack, the runoff, fish. You're going to see more run-of-the-river type instead of storage. We relied on that snow storage up in the hills for a lot of years. So if it's not the same in the future, that's limiting. And so hydro is going to be much more difficult. You're not going to be able to expand that, is what we would forecast at this moment. So finding these other resources and making them available. And I think by us doing it and using technologies and advancing how we operate the system, will maintain that competitive edge. And I think that's the direction we'd like to move.
Got it. The other piece on transmission lines and thinking through the risk and wildfires and really thinking about resiliency in the region. Can you quantify the safety benefits of these transmission investments? Is that something we can get our hands around?
Well, the good news is that transmission, that's typically those steel towers or taller. They're usually above the tree lines. And you usually have a broader easement associated with that, so a cleared area around the line. It tends to be our distribution facilities that are highest risk when it comes to wildfire. So it's down below the trees falling in. 50% of our outages today are caused by vegetation. So the transmission, though, is very seldom ever involved with vegetation issues. So I would say if I had concerns about wildfire, I'd be looking at our distribution.
Got it. That's a fair point. And obviously, you know, what we just saw in Hawaii is on a lot of people's minds. I mean, was that primarily distribution lines that were the issue, or is it too early to tell?
Too early to tell. But we've had contact. We're working with those individuals, but at the same time, it is too early to tell.
Okay. Last question. Demand response in this region, what are the most likely positive, you know, in the next few years, where do we see real positive impact, we think? Is it primarily industrial, commercial, or is it a combination? I'm just big picture, where are we going to get the most bang for our buck?
The biggest will come from commercial industrial. Just as I mentioned, the data centers and being able to flex their load, that can be significant. If you can move 20 megawatts, that's a lot of homes for that 20 megawatts. But I think as we think technology going in the future, smart, intelligent devices, my toothbrush has intelligence now. So we're going to see that across the board, and virtually all equipment will have that intelligence to be able to react and know what's happening and operate in the best way. My hot water tank learns over 7 days, you know, when I take showers, so it knows when to heat up and not. So it's technologies of that nature that are really going to make the difference. And one last moment, I would just say LED lights, when you change the first one on your house, didn't make a whole lot of difference. When you changed all of them in your house, you noticed it on your bill. Well, think about that for 1 million customers. It really makes a big difference. So we think those little things really do add up.
Got it. Thank you.
I might just add in closing that we have also been working with your team on the Portland Clean Energy Fund Climate Investment Plan, which we're excited to see come to fruition here. And a lot of the programs that we mentioned depend on close partnership with the city on that.
You didn't mention rapid chargers, but I know you've been working in that arena. Could you give us sort of the high level on that?
Very quickly, Daimler, we've been working with closely over here on Swan Island towards the 1 megawatt charger for what I'll call the box trucks and larger. Today, a level 1 charger is 120 volts. Level 2 gets you to 240 volt that you might have in your garage. Level 3 gets you to DC, and that's typically, if you've been to a Tesla supercharging station, you can get up to 250 kW of charging on your car. New chargers that they're looking at are 350 kW. So that's, you know, an average home is about 3 kW. So 100 homes for 1 car charge, and that moves you to about a 10-minute charge. So it's very, very fast, very rapid, and we're seeing that, you know, the desire to move that direction. What we believe, you know, as utilities, we're thinking batteries as buffers. So charging a battery, downloading, so back to that utilization, instead of these big peaks of charging, we want to try to levelize that. So we're going to see that with the charging stations as they develop.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, thanks. I'm Bob Gravely. I'm the Regional Business Manager for Pacific Power here in Portland. In a moment here, I'll turn it over to Matt McVie, who's our Vice President of Regulatory Policy. So I want to just spend a second to give you an overview of Pacific Corp and Pacific Power. Those terms are kind of used interchangeably, but it does, how we're structured does make a difference in terms of how, you know, our plans to kind of move toward renewable energy and implement our clean power plan. So Pacific Corp is the parent company. It serves about 2 million customers across 6 states. And Pacific Power is what we go by here in Oregon, as well as our service territories in Washington and the very northern part of California. And then in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho, the company is Rocky Mountain Power. And if you look at the map here, it's a little small to see too much detail, but that, you know, the blue areas represent the areas where we serve. The lines are transmission lines, and then all those colored dots represent different forms of generation. So This is how, it's important for how we will bring large amounts of new renewable resources online and to the region, which Matt will go into in more detail. But we own an extensive amount of transmission to bring those resources across, as well as, our own wind and solar resources in Wyoming and Utah and places like that. In fact, I believe we're the largest utility owner of wind resources in the West. And then to bring it a little bit more locally, we serve about 90,000 customers in northeast and parts of downtown Portland, so a much smaller local presence than PGE. I think Paul mentioned we serve about 20% of the city of Portland. But we do have our company-wide headquarters here in the Lloyd District. We employ about 1,000 people here, so those are, union line worker and estimator jobs, as well as kind of corporate headquarter jobs here in the city. We have 2 operations centers, as well as our trading floor for our whole system, and we have a grid control center in the city that can kind of manage the grid for all 6 of those states. So there's a lot happening here locally for us. And then this map just shows you a little bit more detail on the service area. So, you can see our Portland service area is primarily Northeast Portland. We go out to about 122nd, a little bit in North Portland, and then we kind of share downtown with PGE. And then this just gives you a sense of how Pacific Power receives its transmission to Portland. Larry mentioned a lot of these shared points where PGE and Pacific Corp share transmission points. We're also heavily dependent on Bonneville Power and interconnections we have with the BPA system. It just gives you kind of a quick overview of that. And then now I'm going to kind of turn it over to Matt. Matt's going to go into more detail about Pacific Power's kind of own resource transition, our resource plans, as well as kind of some more detail on our clean energy plan and how we plan to get there. And then we're going to conclude with some more discussion about how we currently collaborate with the city and where there's opportunities to work together further.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, Mayor, Commissioners.
Good morning.
So I wanted to start with where, I wanted to start with where Pacific Corp is, absent any state energy policies and absent any partnership with the city to get to the city's individual goals. So for Pacific Corp, we tend to look back to about 2005 to start, and but this graphic is kind of set to align with House Bill 2021's targets. But our goal as a company, system-wide, across all 6 states, is to be 100%, reduce our emissions by 100% by 2050. So we've been moving towards that for some time. About 2017 was the last major investments in a thermal resource that we identified. And I believe that was mainly emissions and pollutant reduction systems. So along that, and I'll kind of skip through these slides. I know that we're short on time, and I want to leave plenty of time for questions. But along with that is the renewable energy goals that we have. Currently, we have about 3,400 megawatts year ending 2021 of renewable energy. We continue to add renewable energy pretty much every year to a certain extent. We've been working on our energy gateway system, and we had Energy Vision 2020, which was the last large increase in renewable generation for our system. And we have some energy storage goals of about 700 megawatts. Just for perspective, 1,000 megawatts is the Bonneville Dam. So we're looking at 3 times that for renewable energy as far as what we're doing, and expecting to grow that by another 4 times by 2025, and then by 2040, 10 times. So if I could go to the next slide. So for our resource planning, we just finished our 2023 IRP and filed that in all 6 of our states. This is a system-wide integrated resource plan, so it's how we plan our transmission, our generation together. Over a 20-year planning horizon, we've identified a very aggressive Procurement effort is what we expect. So 9,000 megawatts of new wind, 8,000 megawatts of storage, almost 8,000 megawatts of solar, 1,000 miles of new transmission. The transmission is pretty critical, as Larry mentioned. That interconnects the West and it allows that diversity of resources. Now, for Pacific Corp, because we serve so many communities across the West, we also have diversity of load. And so we get to combine that diverse load where we typically have summer peaking in the eastern states and winter peaking in the western states. So that allows us to build a little bit less for each because we know that we can serve each load separately. And then that diversity also allows us to get to different markets, get to different resources. So we can get to Eastern Oregon solar, we can get to Southern Utah solar, we can get to Wyoming and Montana wind, and we have the Northwest hydro. And then also we have connections that will get to the California Independent System Operator, which allows us to get the solar when that is very low-cost solar. So in those spring, summer months when the sun is shining there and they don't have the load because there's no air conditioning, there's times, at least in the past, where that has been almost zero cost or they'd be paying for us to take that power. So taking that reduces the costs that get flowed through to customers. So one other important part of House Bill 2021 is there is a small-scale renewable requirement. And so one part of the procurement strategy for all of the Oregon utilities, PG and Pacific Corp or Pacific Power, is this need to procure about 10% of our capacity as small scale. So for Pacific Corp, we anticipate about 500 megawatts by 2030, and then we may peak out at 800 megawatts of small scale. And that provides some opportunities because that overlaps with CBREs, the community-based renewable energy. If I can go to the next slide. So Pacific Corp's, this slide is showing where Pacific Corp has to go under the Oregon House Bill 2021 requirements. So I think we've already mentioned the basic requirements for the law, but for Pacific Corp, we're starting around 8.9 million metric tons of carbon. We do have coal units in Montana and Wyoming and Utah. A lot of those are at the end of their life, and so we're replacing those, which is a good transition because it maintains affordability. We're taking resources out of rates, we're replacing those with new resources, and especially new non-emitting resources. But we do have to get down to 1.8 million metric tons of CO2 equivalent emissions by 2030, and then 0.9 by 2035, and then 0 by 2040. Now, for Pacific Corp, because we serve such a large area and we're not separate companies, we dispatch across the entire system to get the major benefit. To a certain extent, it's a little bit like a market, except for a single utility. So we have the resources and load, and we can balance those across the entire system. But part of that is we have to allocate our system costs. So our generation gets allocated essentially based on usage to each one of our states. We identified two pathways to meet the interim goals. And Pacific Corp is a very complicated company because we do try to balance for the entire system. But we have to allocate these costs, and there are two pathways looking forward essentially say, well, we're in the middle of negotiations for this allocation methodology, and maybe there's a new way to do this so that we can say new renewables will be greater allocated to states that have those policies. So essentially, we're going to dedicate new resources to particular states. And then the second is really based on a concern about reliability. As Larry said, it's affordability, it's reliability, it's moving towards clean energy. Those are the three goals for us as a utility, PG, pretty much all utilities in the West are thinking about those goals. And so part of that is the reliability aspect is we have identified in this EP that we cannot get to zero emissions without some sort of new technology. We can add a bunch of batteries, that'll help, but we're really looking at hydrogen peakers or some sort of non-emitting peaker PacifiCorp is looking at different types of, potentially using some sort of nuclear facility. We're looking at one particular facility that we think has less risk. It uses molten salt, which provides storage. But we haven't seen that proven out, and so we're studying it, but we don't know if that'll be around. And so to get to that zero emissions, it really is going to take all of those resources, CBREs, small scale, local resources, access to additional markets, potentially development of a broader market. All of those things will be necessary for us to get there. Next slide. So PacifiCorp's Clean Energy Plan, and I think this is kind of following on what was already discussed, but it has 7 key components: community engagement, community benefit indicators, or CBIs, you'll hear that a lot, resiliency, the community-based renewable energy, resource planning, greenhouse gas emissions analysis, and the action plan. That's how we structured our CEP, and that's essentially how we're moving, and that represents kind of where we're moving as a utility also, because one of the key components of House Bill 2021 was making the utilities focus on engagement and input, so working with the communities. And so we're developing the internal processes to work on that. Utilities have historically been least cost, least risk. We want to get the lowest cost, keep rates affordable, spur usage, spur development, economic development. But now we're starting to look at it as, how do we build that up? How do we make that work? So to start with community engagement, we have developed or initiated a bunch of different groups for us to work with to try to get that input. So we have the statutory Community Benefits and Impacts Advisory Group. That's part of House Bill 2021. Our integrated resource plan, we have public input meetings which have participants from all 6 of our states. We have a distribution system planning set of local stakeholder workshops, and we do those both remotely, and then we go out to individual communities and have separate planning meetings. We've started a Clean Energy Plan engagement series. That is for any interested party to come in and listen to us as we develop some of the components that I'll discuss in the next couple slides. And then we also have our transportation electrification program engagement, and then we've also initiated a tribal nations engagement series so we can specifically talk to that community. And then in addition to that, on our website, we have information hubs, and so we post all of the information, all the presentations, we record the meetings so anyone can look back at that and see how we're developing. The community benefit indicators, this is fairly common. We're trying to, we can't move forward if we're not identifying where we should be moving towards and then measuring the progress. Now, these are, and I'll kind of skip through this one quickly because, it's going to be, there'll be a lot more information as we start to gather the information and then analyze it. But the main thing for us is that these are interim. These are going to change as we go. We have the benefit of having gone through this in Washington, and so we're able to use the same CBIs in Washington for Oregon with some slight changes. But those are going to develop. We're going to have to look at each individual community. Now, I did want to take a little bit of time on resiliency, because this is something that for PacifiCorp, we see this as a critical process to identify how we prioritize programs. And so this is probably one of the key steps, at least in my opinion. This is one of the key steps in moving towards kind of community-based renewables and kind of renewable 100% emissions reductions in general. There is currently kind of a lack of industry consensus on what it means. And so we're trying to develop this. And our Clean Energy Plan identifies that we're going to be reaching out to communities and starting to get input to help develop it. We need to get that input because the resiliency both comes from system resiliency and from community resiliency. So are we essentially identifying those areas in the community where we want to have power in the event of emergency, that we want to reduce costs for certain communities, maybe vulnerable communities, that we should be prioritizing. And then the resiliency of the system too. So are we avoiding costs that we would invest? Because that allows us to then have a metric that we can use to identify how should those costs be, should they be included in rates? Do they need to be funded by the customer, or is there a way to spread those costs out? So for us, that is one of the key aspects, because that allows that distinction to prioritize the projects. So the community-based renewable energy, this is, it is the kind of the second requirement is to increase that resiliency. This Pacific Core is, we have an initial study, and one of our goals in this initial clean energy plan, we'll have a new clean energy plan in 2 years, is to identify and update our current study on what the potential is out there. We have not committed to an RFP, but we are looking at the potential to do an RFP following on what Portland General is doing. And we do see a lot of overlap. One of the things about CBREs that or the way that we're approaching CBREs is there's generally 3 buckets. I deal with a lot with our rates and regulatory policy. So I think about the CBREs in 3 buckets. So you have the reduction of usage. Those are behind the meter generation. It's the community solar that the city of Portland is involved in. It is rooftop solar with net metering for our customers. So those provide benefits to those individual customers. Grant funding, maybe community funding through community green tariff processes. Those are great ways to help those local communities, those local individuals, to reduce their need. But those benefits kind of stick with those individuals or the organization. Then you have the kind of traditional sale. So we have qualifying facilities under what's called PURPA, the Public Utility Regulatory Policies Act. So you can sell there, or you can sell through just a general sale through a power purchase agreement. We are doing we're in the initial stages of scoping out a request for a proposal for small-scale renewables to meet that requirement of 500, just under 500 megawatts by 2030. CBREs could bid into that, or if they qualify or they meet the requirements as a qualifying facility, they can just sell to us. And then we could buy that power, and that money would then go to the owner of that facility. And so that energy then comes on the system, and then we use it to serve our entire load. And then the third bucket is really that critical partnership, and that's what we want to work with the city of Portland, what we want to work with all our communities on. And that is that potential for partnership. So if there are solar panels put on top of, say, a community center, we'd be looking for opportunities to install a battery, or if there was a battery that was installed in there, where we might be looking for opportunities to get some control over the dispatch. That will allow us to balance that grid. And so those are the types of partnership activities that we'd really be looking for.
Could I jump in on that point? I want to be mindful of the time. We've got about 2 more minutes left in this work session. A couple of you have mentioned this idea of a partnership with the city on potential locations for solar, for battery, for other power generation. I think we're very open to that. So my question is, Donnie, are you working with facilities? Do you already have a work group? Are you already coordinating with the bureaus? How is that being done?
The answer is yes, but there's a lot of different pathways, Mayor, but yes. Short story is yes.
Terrific, thank you.
So, and I think that's where, we're going to be really reaching out. And the resiliency, having more people participate, especially City of Portland, in the resiliency discussion is going to lead to how do you prioritize those different projects.
Yeah, and we want to. I mean, we should be leading by example.
Yeah. And then if you could skip 2 slides, I think maybe we'll just get to
That's interesting.
Challenges and opportunities. We just wanted to mention, we're seeing this transition. There's a bunch of opportunities for us to work through or to look at, to explore, but then there's also several challenges that we do have to be mindful of. We've got to balance all of this out. We're looking at regional energy market development. Pacific Core was a leader in the Western Energy Imbalance Market with the ISO. That has saved our customers $657 million in net power costs to date as of July. We're also looking at the further development of that market to a day-ahead market. We did an initial study that was a conservative study. It was looking at Pacific Core, Idaho Power, and some municipals in California, and we believe that would save us about $181 million additionally. And so we believe that allows for the integration of more renewables and it allows for more reliability because there'll be more power available. We're also actively pursuing new technology, as I mentioned. The challenges are just it's that reliability through the energy resource transition. It's that combination of storage with renewables, because as Larry said, the renewables, if the wind doesn't blow, then you're losing generation. And so you need something to balance that out. Upward cost pressure, it's the grid hardening that was discussed, it's inflation, and then the energy price volatility. We've seen the market change substantially. We've seen utilities exit a lot of the market, and so then you have more power marketers, and then you run into issues of do they decide not to sell because they can just use liquidated damages if they get a better deal later on. And then load growth with fixed emissions targets. What that can lead to is the need to develop a little bit more, because it's not a percentage of load that we're trying to reduce our emissions to. We're trying to get it to zero no matter what that load is. So if you have a data center that opens in some area of our service territory, and it may not be Portland, it could be in a rural area, you've got to serve that and you've got to move that towards 100% renewable, but that may be difficult. At least for that first year or maybe two. It depends on how long it takes to get new resources online. So you may have to overbuild a little bit, or you can rely on a market. So I know we're short on time, but I did want to mention that much like PGE, we do have several programs. And do you want me to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I know we're at time. So I think the point is that, we've kind of given you an overview of where we're heading, both as a company and also under the state laws. And the city has some additional goals and targets, and that I think this just highlights some of those opportunities to work together to help you meet those targets. So I think, we can stop there and then at any point follow up with you or the bureaus or anyone else.
Sounds good. Donnie, any closing comments before we?
No, I just want to thank our partners for coming out this morning, and thank you all for your time. Appreciate it. And commissioners and mayor, later this month, we'll have the climate investment plan coming to you all. Later in the fall, we'll have the building standards and reporting ordinance, which is a pathway towards load management that our utility partners referenced. And then, of course, the big move next year will be the community tariff. Those are all inflection points, and many more, hopefully, Kavita's point about IRA funding, that you all be able to interact with this in our grid and energy resources to advance our goals and resilience. So stay tuned.
Great. Thank you to all of our presenters for being here today. Back to you, Mayor.
Thanks. Terrific. Thanks for being here. We're adjourned.
Thank you.